So, you like Joe Perry, do you? Well, it's either that or you like Jordan Peterson, but I'm assuming it's the former, not the latter. Thanks for all the views, the comments, the likes. You've finally done as you're told, and it's paying off. Very grateful. I'm glad you liked the video. A lot of you in the comments were like, oi, if you can do that second solo so well, help us out with the rhythm, maybe the first solo. So I had an idea. I thought we'd take a look at some of the killer riffs from the rhythm guitars in the verse, specifically this one. I snuck it in last time. Now what I thought would be cool for this video is if we kind of have a conversation. I'm going to show you different ways that you can play the badass verse riff from Walk This Way. And then we can kind of decide between us which one sounds better, more like the track, whether it's a mixture of both, and which one you would want to do live. Because you're in Aerosmith now, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. You just got a call before. But you were out in the garden, watering the pansies. Steve Tyler's there, trying to promote you, and you're pissing about, potting plants. It's pathetic, really. I don't care how hot it is. Get inside, play some riffs. So, the first thing I'm going to show you is what I think is the most common way to play the verse riff. It's like a traditional C blues shuffle. And yes, I am shouting a lot because I've got my in-ear monitors in, okay? I'm like your granddad, but a little bit better on guitar. So, let's take a C power chord at the 8th fret. The stretchy notes that you're going to need are the major 6th and the minor 7. That's going to be on the 12th fret and the 13th fret of the A. You're also going to need the octave of the root, so that's the C note, but that's going to be on the D string. Now remember when we talked about the swingy JP delivery? Well, it's even more prominent here. Let's break it down into two halves because I think it's the best way to get your head around it. The first part goes like this. So you're going to hit the root note 3 times, and then you're going to move to the perfect fifth on the A string. Then you're going to hit the 5th again and go up to the major 6th and back. Second half is going to go like this. So that's the root note, then the octave. And then we've got this nice little back and forth between the perfect 5th, the 7th and the 6th. And you'll hear throughout that I've kind of got like a little bit of palm muting that's going over the bottom strings, and it just helps tighten it up a little bit. But you don't have to do that. So your job now is to keep playing that over and over and over again, and gradually speed it up. But as you do, try not to lose the swingy JP vibe that we talked about, because it's what it's all about. In order to make it sound a little bit more rock and roll and give it more attitude, it doesn't matter that you're like too precise or too mechanical with it. What kind of brings this riff to life for me, especially because it's double tracked on the record. That means double tracked, by the way, sign language. What brings it to life is when you kind of brush over a couple of strings at the same time, and you kind of bleed the fifth with the root. The same with the octave with the fifth when it jumps up, and so on. And it just sounds a little bit more like a power chord riff than a single note riff, if that makes sense. So rather than it being like this, it's got this. So that's the first way that you can play the riff, and I think it's the most common from what I've seen. And I watched some footage of them. I don't want to say Top of the Pops. It might have been. It was like a BBC Live thing. I watched some footage from way back when. It looks like they're kind of just always playing that bluesy shuffle with the stretch. However, tonally, it doesn't really match the record. It feels like it bites a little bit, but I don't think you would have played that stretch down in open position, because why would you? It's even bigger and it's a bit nasty. So I've started playing it this way, which I quite like. The shortest way to understand it is that we're going to move the 6th and the 7th notes, so 12 and 13 on the A string, to 7 and 8 on the D string, okay? You have to flip fingers around. Same notes are just in different places now, so you understand the riff, the mechanics of it. And it's good practice to be able to do one thing somewhere and the same thing somewhere else, just at the flick of the switch. So I'm going to play it that way. Jump straight back into that one. Oh, make use of the open G. That was clever. Too clever. Right, let's get back up here. So I like to use index and pinky now to play the kind of power chord part of it at first. I call that my lazy left hand when I play like a 3-fret spacing with my index and pinky, just because it feels super comfortable. Now the back and forth between the 5th and the 6th in terms of interval is going between the A and the D string, frets 10 and 7. And then we're going to jump back to the root, up to the octave. There, remember, if you clip the perfect 5th below the octave, that's also cool. And then we've got this nice back and forth between the perfect 5th, 7th, flat 7th and the 6th. Now you might be thinking here, that goes against what you said about it sounding more power chordy than single note. Well, when you get it up to speed, you'll find that you kind of start bumping into the surrounding strings if you're keeping that hand loose and swingy. Watch. Bonus lesson. I think there's a third way you can play it that's worth talking about, because on the track, I think in the right headphone, they're making use of the open G like I did before. So basically take the second way, we just learned that riff, but move it to the A string. So position of C here. Starts exactly the same, but as you jump up to the octave, instead of coming back down to the perfect 5th on the D string, make use of the open G. And then you can just bounce back and forth between the 3rd and the 2nd fret, minor 7, major 6th. And sonically, I think that would give you enough variation from the kind of chunkier tone down here to warrant it being like a double tracked different take. Mix it with this one. Mixed with this one. got that kind of like bite that you can hear on the right side of the mix. Anyway, 3 different ways you can play the same thing. Good for practice, and also just good to teach you how stacking, double tracking can instantly change the sound and feel of a single riff. Let's try them all back to back, shall we? Another way you could play that last one is to actually fold the 4th finger into the perfect 5th and then just use the open G for the last bit. Makes it a little bit easier because coming off quick, you might catch that harmonic like I did then. It's actually a smarter way to do it. Still gives you that bite of the open G at the end, but you're not going to duff a harmonic like that. Nobody wants that unless you're Mark Knopfler in Money for Nothing. No, it's banned. 4 ways to play the same riff. There are more, but that is all we've got time for. If you would like to learn any other parts of this song in detail, including the main riff, the chorus, rhythm, the first solo, the last solo, then do let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to thumb up this video, share it with all of your friends, and watch it 15 times in a row, okay? Because that's what it takes. It's boiling. It's too hot, even with these 10 times ripped jeans on. My knees are steaming, so I'm gonna go and sit in the garden. What am I gonna sit with? I might have an Alcantoshan 3 wood on the rocks with a little bit of Di Serrano in it, because I'm sad. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.